Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now getting closer to the end of November of 2022. We already got Andor episode 11 out. Now fans are awaiting for Andor episode 12. That's really going to conclude the series. And by the way, stay tuned for a post-credit scene in that show. It's going to tease something substantial that's going to connect to Rogue One. So, moving on past beyond that, a lot of fans are also embracing what John and Dave are currently working on behind the scenes. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about George, John, and Dave is that they are shifting away from Kathleen Kennedy's overall outlook on Star Wars, right? We know that they have their differences, that Kathleen Kennedy has her own philosophy of Star Wars, and that it's all about attracting new fans only and kind of diverting from the old fans. Meanwhile, when it comes to Lucas, Favreau, and Filoni, they have a whole different setup, and it's the right setup. It's all about paying respect to the fans that supported this franchise for over 40 years, and that's where the passion pours in. Now that brings us to exactly what's going on with Lucasfilm as a company. Now, one thing that a lot of Lucasfilm, employees and a specific spokesperson has been saying about the future of Star Wars is that it all lies within the hands of Favreau and Filoni, and how they're going to be able to execute things for the Star Wars universe and where that's going to go. And one of which has a lot to do with some of the returning characters that fans would have never saw them, in their wildest dreams are now actually happening. So Lucasfilm is getting ready to actually gear up and make some heavy announcements at next year's Celebration event that will tease the upcoming Star Wars shows, both animated and live-action wise, as well as other projects that will cherry-pick from Star Wars Legends. However, recently a Lucasfilm spokesperson was able to talk about Mace Windu in response to a question about his return and survival. The Lucasfilm spokesperson went on to say the following to the fans: "Well, this is a question that we get all the time. And what I can say is that we talk about this every single day. And though I can't really go into every plan that's in the works right now, we think fans of Mace Windu are going to be very pleased and surprised in just a short number of years. We discussed this with George and even John and Dave, if it would even make sense to bring back Mace Windu. Whether or not they agreed or disagreed with us, I am not at liberty to give that information as of right now. But this is something that we are actively talking about in almost every single meeting of ours, about the creative side of the franchise and the stories that will be presented to fans in different shows that we have planned." Now I want to stop right here. Now, what this is basically confirming is that Mace Windu is actively in the talks behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm in almost every single meeting, every single day. Now, the thing about this, we already talked about this, of how Mace has been in the works for years now, coming back for the Star Wars universe in different points in time. And this is basically what is happening. Mace Windu is coming back. It's taking a while, I know, but Favreau and Filoni want to make sure that it's not rushed, that it's not forced or pushed in there to the point where it's going to devalue the return, right? They want to make sure that it's going to be very well treated and very well surprising to the fandom. Now, basically, what's happening here is that Lucasfilm is putting it out there that they have had conversations with John and Dave about his return and whether or not it would be over the top. And whether or not John and Dave agreed or disagreed with that, she left that all up to the fans to guess, And we already know the answer because everything behind the scenes, Mace is in the works, Sam Jackson has already talked to John and Dave. There's a lot of things happening with Windu's survival. And even Sam Jackson teased this on his Instagram, you guys may recall, and he deleted it on his story, I believe it was, where he said something around the lines of Mace Windu is not dead yet, or something like that. And he erased the story. So I don't know why he erased the story there. I think it most likely does pertain to all of these talks happening behind the scenes without a doubt. Now, the other thing that I think a lot of fans need to be very well aware of alright, is the fact that when you look at something like this in the past, when you look at everything happening with the franchise, right? We already know that a lot of fans had issues back in the day with the prequels, and that's now very well respected because it's in contrast with what's been going on with the sequels, right? And I've said this, the prequels outperform the sequels. Now, what John and Dave are trying to do is that they're trying to salvage some elements from the prequel trilogy and kind of creating their own stories off of the prequel trilogy characters. And that's a very smart move on their end, because they know the fans love those characters. So, moving on from all of this, he goes on to say, or she goes on to say, "We have talked with Mr. Jackson about this, and if he would be interested, and let me just say that the answer he gave us was very welcoming. Again, though we have extensive plans to bring back many beloved characters, apart from what she said, this all alludes to Mace reappearing in the planned Kenobi soft reboot and in Mandalorian 4 as an elderly version of Mace. Lucasfilm was also in the early stages on developing a Mace Windu Star Wars TV show for the fans. The series, that is early in development of course, will show two sides of Mace's life. During his Jedi training and after Order 66, they are looking for someone else to play a younger version of Mace, and Jackson also to actually make a return for post-Order 66 content. Now, keep in mind that they also have plans to bring back Mace in Mando 4, like I said before, as a very elderly version of the character, a very immobile character, kind of like how Yoda was on Dagobah, right? Now, the thing about this too, that I think a lot of fans might have issues with of bringing Mace Windu back, is that it kind of gives the fans a distorted look on things when it comes to Star Wars, right? When somebody dies, you could very well now say, are they really dead? I mean, if you think about it, right? Look at Palpatine, look at Boba Fett, look at other characters in the Star Wars franchise like Darth Maul. Almost every villain, or even some of the heroes that have fallen to their death, survive. Even Ben Solo falls into a pit and climbs out. So, it's a running theme in Star Wars, I know. But at the end of the day, the only one exception was Han Solo. He never survived the fall. But overall, there's a lot of things going into this, and I think that if they just play their cards correctly, and they take their time, and they execute this all well, and also if they just have great dialogue, they're going to knock it out of the park. They're unbeatable at this point, Favreau and Filoni. They can stick to content like this, where they take their valuable time on it until it comes out. I think that they're going to be, like I said, unbeatable. They're going to be like the Star Wars guys. Nobody can touch them. Nobody can be, compared to them creatively, as long as they play their cards right, in a consistent manner, no less. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.